So, if you have trained with me or if you've listened to me teach before, if you read my book, you're very familiar that one of the things that I fully believe in my heart is that it is so important that we make the play therapy process our own. So, I want to speak a little bit about what that means and why that is so important. So, when we are first learning anything, it really actually is important that we step into the thing that we are learning. So, if we're learning a new play therapy model, or if we're learning a new protocol for helping our clients in some way, it's important that we step into trying that on, and that we really do step into trying that on, and understanding what that particular paradigm or thinking is all about. That's very important. But at some point, we have to question. At some point, we have to stop and say, okay, now that I understand this theory, now that I understand what this feels like, now that I understand the rationale and the reasons behind why I'm being taught to do what I'm doing, what do I feel congruent with? And what parts don't I feel congruent with? And the reason why is because if we are sitting in a session trying something on or doing something that isn't congruent, it's actually going to come through as we are engaging with our clients. Ultimately, what our clients want and need from us is congruency, is our own authenticity, is our own enthusiasm for the very thing that we are attempting to embody and attempting to teach and attempting to support the client through. Without that, it's like trying to deliver or have a conversation with someone and you're not even believing it yourself. And that inevitably is going to be felt by the client. Another way that I like to think about it is, can we become the very model that we have learned? How can we become it? Rather than it being, oh, I'm Lisa and I do this. It's really an embodiment of, well, I'm a synergetic play therapist, or I'm a child centered play therapist, or I'm a gestalt play therapist, or I'm an eclectic play therapist, or whatever it may be, or I draw from these different principles. And for us to feel really connected with the very pieces that when we deliver them, we actually come alive. We actually become enthusiastic inside of ourselves because we believe what we're doing, right? We believe in the very thing that we believe in, the question that we're asking, right? We believe in the gesture that we're making. We believe in the process we're taking the client through. So this again just goes back to what I had just said, which is when we first learn something, we do need to learn it as it's first taught so that we can understand it. Maybe we can even think about this in terms of a developmental process, right? Think about children growing up. Initially, they take on that which is in their environment, and they need to be able to fit in and find their way. But at some point, there are things that start to feel start to feel where there's information that starts to arise in the child around, let's call it inner friction, right? Well, I don't know if I believe in that, or that doesn't really make sense for me. And we start to see children discovering their own individual identity by bumping up against the points inside of them where they're experiencing some friction or some incongruence. I'm asking us to apply that same process into our development as a play therapist. Right? As we're growing, can we get curious about those inner places of friction, the places where we agree and where we don't disagree with the things that we've learned? Can we begin to question them? Can we give ourselves permission to question them and then to discover answers that become more congruent and make more sense to us? So that we can really step into what it fully means to be a congruent and authentic play therapist, which, as I said, ultimately is what the child wants from you and is really your greatest gift, in my opinion, that you can offer your clients, because that's what we're trying to teach them to do, right? We're trying to teach them how to become aware of the friction and the incongruences in them and in their perceptions in their world. And we're trying to support them in becoming who they ultimately are. So as play therapists, let's model that and do the same for our clients and for ourselves ultimately.